Hi folks, hope you're well. So this video, I've done one recently, but okay. Why do I do videos? Because really, when it comes down to it, there's one main reason I do videos. Well, talking about church, I can do videos talking about the things that God has given me, but why do I reveal the things in church that are wrong? The things that have offended those in the Vineyard Church. When I've spoken about what they've done, that's wrong. Why do I do those? Quite simply, I believe, and I think I've already provided evidence based upon what God has given me about church, that the church gave itself to the devil many, many years ago. Well, by doing things according to the world, because the world belongs to the devil. The world is something we're supposed to be in, but not of, and the church has made itself of the world. Okay. So again, there's no judgment there. That's just the situation as it is. Okay. I believe that that's the case. So, therefore, with that being the case, there you go. So, when I get to see churches that provide absolute evidence that that is true, well, obviously, I talk about it because what I'd rather find, to be honest, is churches that will prove that actually there's a church that's different. And when I first started talking about the Vineyard Church, I thought they were a church that was different. When they weren't. They weren't. They were exactly the same as every other church. Well, as I say, I mean, and again, whenever I think about it, it just, yeah, it just makes me think it's so incredibly sad that people have gone down that path again. That people keep going down the safe path, which is the path that is most certainly not safe. They keep going down the safe, comfortable, easy path, not understanding that's the path to destruction. And that's horrible. And the reason why I talk about it is for the very simple reason I'm saying to people, stay away from church. Build your relationship with God. Don't do it in church. If you want your relationship with God to be suffocated, then go to a church. If you want to be trapped in this system of family, community in church, and having to toe the line, otherwise you're out. And yeah, what they want is they want to get people in, and they want to. I'm not saying church now. I don't think they even know why it is necessarily that way. Why they push so heavily about community. I'm not sure if they understand why, but this is the reason why. To get people so heavily into that point of needing that extended family that church is supposed to give, or even though it's not actually. No, in the writings of the early church, it's not described as an extended family, is it really? Yeah. And so therefore, but okay. It gets people in, and then when people start to question, suddenly they're treated differently when they start to question. They're not treated with the same love and kindness and gentleness. They're treated like a bit of an outsider. And they can either come back in line or they can continue as being an outsider. And what's that designed to do? Keep people behaving according to the way that is acceptable within church. Yeah. And you get in that, you won't get out. It's designed so that you can't get out. And that's why, as I say, that's why church is they won't do things according to God. They won't. Because they can't. They start doing it, they will start, as I said to Archie when he said about being led by God, I said, if you start doing it, this is what's going to happen. And what I said to him was right. It was true. If he started being led by God, then he would have even his, the leadership of the church, even his own wife would be going against him. Well, because he would be questioning her and questioning what she does, what she says, what she thinks, the way she behaves. He'd be questioning that. He'd be challenging that. And she would then start to wondering what the heck has happened to her husband, who was agreeing with everything she was doing beforehand. And that's true. But therefore, the video is about saying to people that this is church. If you come into this, you won't find God. You won't. Look at Scripture. Look at what the Lord said. That is the will of God. What the Lord said, not what Paul, not what Peter said, not what John said, what the Lord said. So, in the Gospels, what the Lord said, that's the will of God. That's the will of Father. So, therefore, focus your attention mainly on those. You can read the rest of the stuff, because the rest of the stuff, even the Old Testament, is telling you about people. The people that are trying to walk according to God, and But, don't follow Paul's example, even though Paul said to do so, because, at that time they didn't have Christ's example. You do. So follow the example of Christ. Yeshua. Don't follow the example of Paul. But, if you want to do well with God, then don't go to church. Church is not going to help you with that. Not in any way, shape, or form. No. What's going to help you is that the only thing you have is that relationship with God. And so therefore, focus your attention on that. Focus your attention on your relationship with God. Build that, and all the rest will fall into place. Let God be the one to teach you and train you.